Order of Sheridan, Russell, and
Great. So I think the first thing I just want to say is thank you for being here. It's really extraordinary to have you all show up here today for the local council elections. I love that people get involved, and one of the issues that we do have in this area is apathy at times, and it's great to just cut through that and to be involved and to find out what is available and who you want to vote for. One of the things that is close to my heart that I didn't say at the beginning is I do want to see climate action with the local government. It is really important. As a mum, I see it as incredibly important that we're looking at what the climate emergency will mean for us in the city of Joondalup immediately and going forward over the next 10, 20, 50 years, and we're looking at how we can reduce our emissions. I also wanted to share, so when I was the guild president at ECU, I actually did start the first community garden there, but we essentially changed that organisation or transformed it. It was a dysfunctional organisation when I initially became president, and very small and not a lot of participation, and over that year I was able to rebuild relationships and essentially transform it. Now I can't take all the credit for it, but I know that my role as the president made a huge difference to the students to know that I was there to listen, and that what I was really committed to was creating a space for leadership. And I think that's really important when you're on council, that you're in supporting the local groups and the local leaders so that they're not burning out and that they feel that they're listened to and heard and that they've got somebody on their side. I do get that we have a good councillor. I have nothing against Russ, and I do think that it is great to have a councillor that will fight for the community and will take it up to the mayor when he needs somebody to check him. And I would also love to take on that role if I was in council. And I am here as an option. And if you do want to speak to me about local issues before or after the election, I am here and available. So thank you.
If I had the power, I would have you all vote for me and Sheridan. In all honesty, look at fantastic. I've never met Sheridan before today. Lovely lady, and also I think thinks alike in many ways with myself, even though I come from somewhat of a corporate aspect. But look, climate change was touched on. I've got that as a history issue. The biggest challenge for us immediately is to get the housing opportunity areas right, and that is something that you will find nobody can go stronger than myself. I mean, it's something which I hate. I've actually been to where these developments have been. I've been to the neighbouring houses. I've seen people who've lived in a home for 36 years who, sitting in their backyard, I look up and I see a 3-storey brick wall, and they say to me, with tears in their eyes, "Where's the sun? The sun's gone." And I mean, this can't be good planning. This is rubbish planning, and I think we've got to get rid of that. And we can only do it if you show this sort of patronage. So that's one of the things. Glyphosate, it's a huge issue at the moment worldwide. It's really getting traction. I will be pushing wherever I can, and I think that, again, Sheridan touched on, let's do it tomorrow if I can. If that's possible, I'd be there. Rates, I've already said to you quite openly, we do not need to have the rate increase we have. We've got 2 levers which the city can pull and doesn't pull one. They pull the rate increase lever, but they're never prepared to push the employment cost lever. We have got, I think it's at this stage, 3.5 times over the last 10 years, the actual increase in wages greater than CPI. It is a crime, and we need to address that. We also need to make sure that our administration is leaner. It needs to make decisions quicker. There's this bureaucracy that sort of, if I ask for a report as a councillor, it's at the whim of the CEO when it comes back. It can take up to 2 years. It's atrocious. We're trying to put in a KPI at the moment where no report takes more than 3 months. I requested for an external intervention into the wage costs and by experts to have a look at the structure and also have a look at the way we're spending money. I was rejected. I was voted down, only marginally, but I was voted down because the administration's got that sort of pull. And there's this unholy relationship with some councillors and the admin, which has got to stop. They're there to represent you, not the administration. And that's got to change. So that's something which is important. So the rates I've talked about, I reckon we'll get down to below CPI rates in the next 4 years, as long as the right people get elected. I wish I could take it with me. Look, the thing I think we've got is the climate change I've talked about. I just want to touch on very quickly on some of the other hits. The exec salaries, we all agree here, it's a nonsense. If this was a private company, I'll give you a bit of a quick figure. $67 million is the current employment cost. 67 million. Now, as a percentage of your rate base, it's about 66% because we collect about 100 million. The actual other fees and services we get is about 42 million. So of the total revenue, it drops down, but it's got to get down to 33% of total expenditure for it to be valid. If in a corporate world, the real world, service industries, which I'm in, if you're over 30%, you're bankrupt. And we have to bring this sort of thinking, into government. They will argue, oh, but we're a service industry. So are we in the private sector. You've still got to maintain your costs. The problem with the CEO and others like him is, sorry, I'm just going over. Can I go over for a minute?
Yes.
The problem with the CEO and the others is that they actually become an industry to themselves. Yeah. They've forgotten that they shouldn't even exist unless they look after you. It's got to change. The review question was asked earlier on about code of conduct. It's more important than that. We as elected members, technically, aren't allowed to talk to any employee except the CEO, technically. Now, that is nonsense. And that was brought about by Minister Paul Omedy, who's now President and Manager of a council, because there was too many councillors interfering with, if you like, the operations. The actual CEO has got more power than God. And the staff don't respond to us because they only have to respond to him. He's the one that'll give them the promotion, the trips, and we've got to change the way we employ them because their contracts are written up by Wolga. Wolga and the contracts are completely and utterly non-commercial. They automatically get increases, they got all these perks. That has to change. The contract has to be written by an independent, which looks after your interests, not, again, local government. So it's a nonsense. The other one, perks, well, I mean, perks to me is just nonsense. The Sheridan sister city should be binned. I'm sorry, it should be binned. I actually thought we were exclusive. 1 of 26. I feel like I've just been whored out. I mean, it's just nonsense. And that's how it's got to go. And this does nothing for us. I'll tell you who benefits from the trips. ECU. Their budget is 440 million a year. Ours is 150. And yet we're sending our troops over there. And we get nothing. They get, of course, students. Hospital, Ramsey, they get doctors and other things out there. The police academy, they get recruits and also they do an exchange. But small business and ratepayers get nothing. Tourism, that doesn't happen. You show me a bucket of tourists running around that come from Sheridan and I'll change my mind. They're not here. Yeah, sorry, I waffle. I've got a lot more, but phone me. That's the answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again for turning up. It's good to see people actually have this interest in what we do. And yes, Sheridan has got to go. I know it's not a major issue, but yes, nonsense. And I actually voted against the Sheridan idea when I was on council. It was nonsense. And I looked at the staff report about economic development. Even if it is the case, it's not our job as ratepayers to fund economic development. It's a state and federal issue. So anyway, that's a small thing that could go. We've got to look after the people in the housing opportunity areas and do our best to rescind and look at the best option for you guys. And well, environment, we've got to do something about that. I'm at the moment in the throes, if people want to contact me, looking at a not-for-profit energy storage company, because there's no good whinging about the environment. We're going to do something about it. So anyway, if people want to talk to me about that, I'd be only too pleased to have a word, and hopefully you'll join me. And yes, I'll do everything if I get elected to whinge as much as I did to get my little park done years ago, and change the way we run council. It's got to change. As we know, the rates have been going up year after year, and we've got to reduce the costs and just bring common sense back. That's me. I haven't got a fancy degree.